Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
The U.S. Embassy issues an alert about compromised water quality in Barbados. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Friday, January 26. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Despite assurances from the Ministry of Health in Barbados that drinking water on the south coast has not been affected by an ongoing sewage spill, the United States government has issued a health alert to its staff in the island, advising that the tap water is not safe to drink. A statement posted on the U.S. Embassy website on Thursday stated that recently conducted tests on the tap water at several U.S. Embassy residences found elevated levels of bacteria. The embassy has therefore recommended that the staff boil their drinking water or use bottled water. Just last weekend, Minister of Health John Boyce said his ministry had conducted weekly tests on both the seawater and drinking water in the area and had determined that the near-shore water quality was normal and potable water was safe to drink. Now, speaking on the heels of the alert, Tourism Minister Richard Seeley said consultations are ongoing with U.S. Embassy officials over the matter.
I can assure you, again, I'm speaking as a member of the government, that the government is engaging with the U.S. officials, and we're trying to understand what that comment is all about. As you would appreciate, it really doesn't say much.
Amid concerns that the sewage spill could deter tourists from visiting the island, Minister Seeley said he was happy with the arrival numbers so far.
I am satisfied that at tourism we are doing everything we're supposed to do insofar as making sure brand Barbados is pushed in our traditional markets, in our new source markets. We are seeing results, tremendous results. We have in fact gone past not 650 but 660,000 for 2017, so we are going in the right direction, and the issues on the south coast are being addressed by the Barbados Water Authority.
Meanwhile, health authorities say one food establishment was responsible for the outbreak of gastroenteritis on the south coast over the Christmas and New Year holidays. The Ministry of Health says there was no evidence linking to the outbreak to the sewage spill, which has forced the closure of at least one or two food businesses. Now, the ministry said it had conducted an epidemiological investigation which reached those conclusions. It did not identify the business responsible for what it described as a localized food-borne disease outbreak, but the ministry said it was continuing to focus its resources on the south coast as it seeks to contain any threat to public health. It said no new cases of gastroenteritis have been reported since January 3rd, and no other clusters of similar illnesses were reported from elsewhere in this area of the sewage spill. Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister Gaston Brown has announced that some citizens who are indebted to the state-owned Antigua Public Utilities Authority, the APUA, will have their debts written off. The relief is being given to people who are unable to pay their water, electricity or telephone bills and have had their services disconnected for at least 3 months. Now, Brown said during this during his budget speech on Thursday that the social program, which begins on Valentine's Day and will run for 3 months, demonstrates that his administration is a caring one. He said his government recognizes that for some households, a choice sometimes has to be made between paying utility bills and meeting other pressing expenses. And Brown says families should not be deprived of basic services indefinitely because of their socio-economic circumstances. To a rousing applause in Parliament, he therefore announced his government's initiative to help those people.
If as of December 31st, 2017, a household has been without either electricity, water, or telephone service for more than 90 days, the government will wipe off the arrears. That's right. We will wipe off the arrears, and once the reconnection fee is paid, the service will be restored.
Meanwhile, the main opposition United Progressive Party, UPP, has dismissed the $1.2 billion EC dollar fiscal package that Prime Minister Gaston Brown presented as a pathetic budget. UPP leader and former Finance Minister Harold Lovell was critical of Brown, blaming the passage of Hurricane Irma last September and the opposition party for the failure of his administration to report any meaningful progress in the Twin Island nation over the past 12 months.
Do not accept the numbers that he's presenting. He twists the facts. He makes up the figures as he goes along. He blames the UPP. And another name that you can find for this budget, you know, right? Blurma. Blame Irma. That's what he's done for everything. Blame Irma or blame the UPP. This was a pathetic presentation of a budget where it was all about trying to fool people, the desperation budget, recognizing that this is not an election that will be based on performance. This is an election that will be based on promises.
In his 2.5-hour budget presentation, Brown unveiled several programs geared towards helping public sector employees, including a 5% interim pay increase, housing grants and vehicle concessions. The Prime Minister acknowledged that the government still owes some public sector workers back pay, but Lovell says the salary increase for public workers is inadequate and the back pay has been long owed.
Now, the Labour Party did this before. In 1994, when they never paid any of that back pay, and even now, when they're talking about back pay, a little bit of that it remained after the UPP made the payments in 2004, 2005. And that is the back pay that he is referring to. And that dates back to a period when the Labour Party was in office and made those promises.
In other news now, the Guyana government is considering establishing a national oil company. Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman made that revelation as he disclosed that oil companies from Italy and other developed countries have signaled interest in doing business with Guyana. We get more in this report from Royden James of HGP Nightly News.
On Thursday, Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman told a press briefing that the government is currently in discussion with those interested parties. That prompted the question regarding the government's intention to develop a national oil company to secure its place in the oil market.
That is under active consideration. In fact, we've had some seminars last year run by Chatham House, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, Dr. Valerie Marcel, in conjunction with Ministry of Finance. The last one was held at, what's the name of the place? The Impeccable Banquet Hall. It's the only place that was available. But there is active consideration about how a national company could be positioned.
Trotman says even as government is considering this move, there are mixed views from advisors.
I can say as well that one of the advisors to government has also recommended that there should not be a national company. So sometimes you get advice coming at you. One says do, one says don't. At the end of the day, the Cabinet Subcommittee is going to make that determination.
And coming up, the Jamaica government advised to go after lawyers, accountants, bankers, and politicians who are helping criminals thrive. You're watching Caribbean Newsline. We'll be right back.
Come, experience cricket action like you have never seen it before at the Super 50 Cricket Festival 2018. 43 matches, Antigua and Barbados. 10 teams, an epic 50-over regional battle, a massive showcase of Caribbean cuisine, the crowning of the Super 50 Cup champion, and one big after party. Calling all cricket fans, January 30 to February 24. Come for the action, stay for the vibes. Get your tickets now on the ticketing app, and for more details, go to windiescricket.com.
Did you know that a strategy has been developed to help improve the region's education and human resources?
You didn't? Well, the HID strategy, as it is called, will guide CARICOM in how it delivers quality education and training to the people of the region.
The strategy has been crafted by a group of experts called the HRD Commission.
Consultations have been done across the region to get your input.
Do you know that none of us will be left behind?
The HRD strategy is important to all of us, students, parents, and employers. It will prepare the region, especially the youth, for the 21st century economy and society.
The HRD strategy, unlocking Caribbean human potential.
Sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh, look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Continuing in Jamaica now, the director of the National Integrity Action, Dr. Trevor Monroe, says corruption is contributing to the country's crime problem. And he has urged government to tackle the issue by going after the people who are helping criminals, including lawyers, accountants, bankers, and politicians. TVJ's Anthony Lugg reports.
Addressing the Rotary Club of Kingston on Thursday, Executive Director of the National Integrity Action, Dr. Trevor Monroe, commended the efforts of the government in its attempt to cauterize crime in the parish of St. James. However, Dr. Monroe warned that the authorities move quickly to implement the Oversight Committee to ensure there's no recurrence of the events which played out in the 2010 state of emergency. But amidst those concerns, Dr. Monroe continues to urge the government to quickly tackle what he refers to as the twin demons, corruption and violent crimes.
They must also go after the facilitators in the uptown communities. There must be one law for the citizens of Flankers and for the citizens of Cherry Gardens. And 119 guns that you and I saw in the newspapers, a conservative estimate, 12 million Jamaican dollars. That's not a 15-year-old youngster in Flankers funding that, or in Salt Spring.
Dr. Monroe added that the guidelines are outlined in the National Security Policy.
Some of those who profit from crime appear to be respectable citizens. Lawyers, accountants, politicians, bankers, and real estate brokers who assist the criminals by protecting them, laundering proceeds of crime, establishing front businesses to conceal illegal activity.
And while he issued that suggestion for the facilitators, he believes the issue of corruption within the security forces needs to be addressed urgently.
What is peculiar to Jamaica is not the facilitators who are respectable. What is peculiar is the extent to which These facilitators here enjoy relative impunity and appear to be beyond the reach of the law.
In Dominica, Senior Counsel Anthony Astafan is distancing the government from a situation in which a Dominican registered ship was involved in a suspected breach of United Nations Security Council sanctions against North Korea. The Japanese Foreign Ministry in a statement on Wednesday said North Korean flagged tanker Rai Song-gang 1, which was blacklisted by the UN last month for carrying banned cargo, was spotted with the Dominican flagged Yok Tung tied up beside it in the East China Sea last Saturday. The ministry said some kind of activity was taking place, and the Japanese government strongly believed the tankers were transferring goods in violation of the UN sanctions. But Astafan, who has been a stout defender of the Roosevelt Skerrit administration, says it's not to blame. Instead, he says questions should be asked of the former government of Edison James, who in 1999 made a 30-year arrangement with an American company, Dominica Maritime Registry Incorporation.
Dominica, there's no ministry or department of Dominica that does that function, that has the authority to do that function. And there is no other person or company in the world that has the authority to issue Dominica's flags on boats that are registered with the company. That's the first issue that needs to be discussed.
Last December, the United Nations Security Council unanimously imposed new sanctions on North Korea, seeking to further limit its access to refined petroleum products and crude oil after a recent intercontinental ballistic missile test. Now, Astafan says attempts to associate the government with violations of the UN sanctions is a ploy of the opposition forces in Dominica.
But there are people with their personal and political agenda and hostility that has jumped on it to try to condemn and to indict and to incite hatred and animosity against the government, when the government is not the one involved in the registration of ships. It is being done by an American company whose headquarters is in Washington, D.C., under the authority of a contract signed on the 1st of October 1999 and expires on the 30th of September 2029. So those on the other side who are trying to make mincemeat into that should hang their head in shame, because they are the ones that left that legacy behind and the potential for that sort of thing to happen under this exclusive monopolistic agreement, which they signed and transferred the authority to the American company.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, 3 Trinidadians could be axed from the West Indies cricket team. We'll tell you who they are and why they may be on the chopping block after the break.
Come and experience fun, meet amazing people, and enjoy fantastic food at the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 5 days of festivities from June 27th to July 1st of 2018, with main stage performances from the 28th to the 30th. Here's the first wave of confirmed acts. The legendary Patti LaBelle, Queen of Dancehall, Spice, Miss Lauryn Hill. Many more acts to be announced. Book now and save the date. For more information, log on to StKittsMusicFestival.net. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
Come, experience cricket action like you have never seen it before at the Super 50 Cricket Festival 2018. 43 matches, Antigua and Barbados. 10 teams, an epic 50-over regional battle, a massive showcase of Caribbean cuisine, and a crowning of the Super 50 Cup champion, and one big after party. Calling all cricket fans, January 30 to February 24. Come for the action, stay for the vibes. Get your tickets now on the ticketing app, and for more details, go to windiescricket.com.
Did you know that a strategy has been developed to help improve the region's education and human resources?
You didn't? Well, the HID strategy, as it is called, will guide CARICOM in how it delivers quality education and training to the people of the region.
The strategy has been crafted by a group of experts called the HRD Commission.
Consultations have been done across the region to get your input.
Do you know that none of us will be left behind?
The HRD strategy is important to all of us, students, parents, and employers. It will prepare the region, especially the youth, for the 21st century economy and society.
The HRD strategy, unlocking Caribbean human potential.
Three senior players may be fired from West Indies cricket over their decision to participate in the Pakistan Super League. Trinidadians Kieran Pollard, Sunil Narain and Darren Bravo have chosen to play in the showpiece, which begins next month in Lahore and Karachi, instead of representing the West Indies in the ICC World Cup qualifiers. On a television talk show in Jamaica, Cricket West Indies boss Dave Cameron hinted at the likelihood of the trio parting ways with West Indies cricket once they follow through with their plan to play in the PSL. In this report from TVJ's Jermaine Brown, Cameron says he is disappointed with the players.
We asked them to do the math and the balance and give us an opportunity and play for us this time. We were very disappointed about it. And, you know, the board, in its wisdom, feels that after this World Cup, the qualifiers will qualify, and we'll probably not invite those players to be a part of Cricket West Indies going forward.
Andre Russell has also declined the invitation, opting to play in the Pakistan Super League as well, instead of the World Cup qualifiers. But Cameron explains that the door remains open to the Jamaican all-rounder.
In being able to represent the West Indies.
No, we have spoken to Andre. I think he's presented a reasonable good case about the amount of 50 over cricket at this point in time. So while he will play the Super 50, he will not play in the qualifiers, but we believe he should be available for Cricket West Indies going forward.
And staying with cricket, West Indies have selected their 15-man squad for the crucial ICC World Cup qualifier, without a ball being bowled in the regional Super 50, calling all-rounder Carlos Brathwaite and Kemar Roach. West Indies are down to compete in Group A of the World Cup qualifiers alongside Ireland, the Netherlands, Papua New Guinea and winners of the ICC Cricket League Division 2. The squad, led by regular captain Jason Holder, includes veteran batsman Chris Gale and Marlon Samuels and represents the core of the unit, which suffered a humbling whitewash in the three-match series in New Zealand last December. Left-arm pacer Sheldon Cottrell and batsman Shimron Hetmeyer, late additions to the squad for the New Zealand series, have been retained, but Ransford Beaton, Kyle Hope, Shannon Gabriel and Chadwick Walton have all been left out. Now, as we've heard in a previous story, the experienced quartet of Kieran Pollard, Sunil Narain, Andrew Russell and Darren Bravo will not be playing. Chief Selector Courtney Brown said in a statement that he had reached out to Pollard, Narain, Russell and Bravo, but they opted to play in the Pakistan Super League, which bowls off on February 22nd and runs alongside the World Cup qualifying tournament from March 4th to the 25th. The regional Super 50 serves as a prerequisite for selection to the ODI squad, but International Cricket Council regulations required West Indies to submit a squad by February 2nd. And opener Keegan Simmons slammed the career best 100 on Friday to help West Indies crush Canada under-19s by 187 runs and book their place in the plate final of the ICC Youth World Cup. The left-handed opener brought alive the Burt Sutcliffe Oval with a sparkling 166 of 137 deliveries as the Caribbean side piled up 323 for 8 of their 50 overs after choosing to bat first. Alec Athanaze, another left-hander, smashed 87 while opener Bhaskar Yadram chipped in with 23. In reply, Canada folded for 136 in the 48th over despite an excellent 61 from Kavian Nares and from Arslan Khan that he scored 31. Fast bowler Ronaldo Ali Mohammed scored, well, along with off-spinners Athanaze and Yadram, all finished with 2 wickets each. West Indies, who failed in their bid to defend the title they won 2 years ago will now have a chance at redemption when they face Sri Lanka in Sunday's plate final at the Bert Sutcliffe Oval. Deposed regional football boss Jeff Webb has had his sentencing on corruption charges put back for the 6th time. The former CONCACAF president and FIFA vice president was expected to be sentenced on Wednesday, but the court has now delayed that until March 7. The latest delay comes over 2 years after Webb pleaded guilty to racketeering, conspiracy, 3 counts of wire fraud conspiracy, and 3 counts of money laundering conspiracy. The former head of the Cayman Islands Football Association has already agreed to forfeit more than $6.7 million in cash and assets as part of an agreement with the courts. He is reported to have recently sold his near $1 million Georgia mansion, with proceeds expected to have been turned over to the court as part of the agreement. Now, Webb had assumed the role of CONCACAF president following the cash for vote scandal that shook Caribbean football and led to Jack Warner's resignation. He has been banned for life by FIFA, football's world governing body. And a veteran Trinidad and Tobago female footballer is placing the blame for the country's dismal performance in the CONCACAF Women's Championship squarely on the shoulders of head coach Jamal Shabazz and by extension the TNT Football Association. The Twin Island Republic lost a chance to qualify for next year's FIFA Women's World Cup after losing all 3 of their matches in the qualifiers. And former national women's senior captain Maylee Atin-Johnson, who was not part of the squad, says lack of resources played a major part in the team's poor showing in the first round on home soil.
I feel it for those young ladies because they wasn't equipped or given the tools necessary to perform their tasks at the highest level. And it's unfortunate because hosting a event, a tournament like that at home, it's important that we get our girls practice games and friendlies against top opponents to see which way they're at and what they need to work on and what they could strengthen up on going into a tournament like this, and they wasn't given that opportunity, and it showed on the field, and it's very unfortunate for the girls as well as for women's football going forward.
And Atin-Johnson says the 3-2 loss against Haiti at the opening of the tournament was a clear example of how unprepared the TNT side was.
Keep doing the same thing over and over and expect us to go out there and make a miracle on the field. And that's not how it works in sports, especially at that level where you just go out there and play. All those teams prepare well, and you can see the result with those teams that prepared really well and put resources and backings for their women's program, and you can see it on the field. Look at Haiti. And
that's the sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Come and experience fun, meet amazing people, and enjoy fantastic food at the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 5 days of festivities from June 27th to July 1st of 2018, with main stage performances from the 28th to the 30th. Here's the first wave of confirmed acts. The legendary Patti LaBelle, Queen of Dancehall, Spice, Miss Lauryn Hill. Many more acts to be announced. Book now and save the date. For more information, log on to StKittsMusicFestival.net. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Look, listen, feel, realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Again, the major developments of this day. The U.S. Embassy issues an alert about compromised water quality in Barbados. And in sport, Trinidadians Karen Pollard, Sunil Narayan and Darren Bravo may be fired from West Indies cricket over the decision to participate in the Pakistan Super League. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again on Monday. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good night.